Mandalay was the city of gold, now it reeks of death. Mandalay used to be known as the City of Gold, dotted by glittering pagodas and Buddhist burial mounds, but the air in Myanmar's former royal capital now reeks of dead bodies. So many corpses have piled up since a 7.7 magnitude earthquake struck last Friday close to Mandalay that they have had to be cremated in stacks, one resident says. The death toll from the quake and a series of aftershocks has climbed past 2,700, with 4,521 injured and hundreds still missing, Myanmar's military chief said. Those figures are expected to rise. Residents in the country's second most populous city say they have spent sleepless nights wandering the streets in despair as food and water supplies dwindle. The Mandalay resident, who spoke of bodies being cremated in stacks, lost her aunt in the quake. But her body was only pulled out of the rubble 2 days later, on 30 March, said the 23-year-old student who wanted only to be known as J. Poor infrastructure and a patchwork of civil conflicts are severely hampering the relief effort in Myanmar, where the military has a history of suppressing the scale of national disasters. The death toll is expected to keep rising as rescuers gain access to more collapsed buildings and cut-off districts. J, who lives in Mandalay's Mahang Nie district, has felt dizzy from being deprived of sleep, she said. Many residents have been living out of tents, or nothing, along the streets, fearing that what's left of their homes will not hold up against the aftershocks. I have seen many people, myself included, crouching over and crying out loud on the streets, G said. But survivors are still being found in the city. The fire service said it had rescued 403 people in Mandalay in the past 4 days and recovered 259 bodies. The true number of casualties is thought to be much higher than the official version. In a televised speech on Tuesday, Military Chief Min Aung Hlaing said the death toll may exceed 3,000, but the U.S. Geological Survey said on Friday a death toll over 10,000 is a strong possibility based on the location and size of the quake. Young children have been especially traumatized in the disaster. A local pastor told the BBC his 8-year-old son had burst into tears all of a sudden several times in the last few days, after witnessing parts of his neighborhood buried under rubble in an instant. He was in the bedroom upstairs when the earthquake struck, and my wife was attending to his younger sister, so some debris had fallen onto him, says Ruwait, who only gave his first name. Yesterday, we saw bodies being brought out of collapsed buildings in our neighborhood, said Ruwait, who lives in the Paigitakan area. It's very sobering. Myanmar has been hit by so many disasters, some natural, some human-made. Everyone's just gotten so tired. We are feeling hopeless and helpless. A monk who lives near the Sky Villa condominium, one of the worst-hit buildings reduced from 12 to 6 stories by the earthquake, told the BBC that while some people have been pulled out alive, only dead bodies have been recovered in the past 24 hours. I hope this will be over soon. There are many bodies still inside, I think more than 100, he said. Crematoriums close to Mandalay have been overwhelmed, while authorities have been running out of body bags, among other supplies, including food and drinking water. Around the city, the remains of crushed pagodas and golden spires line the streets. While Mandalay used to be a major center for the production of gold leaf and a popular tourist destination, poverty in the city has soared in recent years, as with elsewhere in Myanmar, formerly called Burma. On Tuesday, Myanmar held a minute of silence to remember victims, part of a week of national mourning. The junta called for flags to fly at half-mast, media broadcasts to be halted, and asked people to pay their respects. Even before the quake, more than 3.5 million people had been displaced within the country. Thousands more, many of them young people, have fled abroad to avoid forced conscription. This means there are fewer people to help with relief work and the subsequent rebuilding of the country. Russia and China, which have helped prop up Myanmar's military regime, are among countries that have sent aid and specialist support. But relief has been slow, Jay said. The rescue teams have been working non-stop for 4 days, and I think they are a little tired. They need some rest as well. But because the damage has been so extensive, we have limited resources here. It is simply hard for the relief workers to manage such massive destruction efficiently, she said.